Hey everybody, today I am going to be showing off the pit amp. Now this is pit and my current design where I'm using the geyser on the outside near the lava. Now this is going to be aiming at trapping all the husks in here, and so they won't be able to be respawning, much like the kind of jail builds which most of you are very aware of. And yeah, so they'll be trapped here in the geyser. The nice thing is about the geyser is that it has sort of an infinite recharge on it, so unlike a floor launcher, it's just going to keep them stuck in there quite nicely. Now this is wave 5, this is against a boss. This is just so I can show you how the bosses and smashers will interact with this kind of base design. So what's going to happen is you're going to end up with the boss or the smasher will be heading towards the base and will no longer be affected by any of the launchers. So you won't be able to launch down into the lava or try and be launched down to the floor there, which I currently have. So what I was thinking is you need a build to kind of separate them and allow them to both get stuck. Now in a previous build of mine I actually trapped all the bosses and the smashers in the geyser right by the amplifier. Now this has been seen in a previous video of mine, but as you'll see now they'll go into the geyser inside that little tunnel if once all of the walls have been taken out or edited out. However, I wouldn't rely on editing them out anymore since the AI has actually changed, and it will no longer be sort of guaranteed or successful that they'll actually go for the walls, the aggro wall, which is right by the geysers. Now for the little husks, what's going to be happening is once they get knocked down onto this platform, which is just down by the side above the lava, they're going to follow it all the way around this archway above the lava, and you're going to build like a little bridge until it connects out to the ground below where they can jump down. Now the only way they can actually get back round to the base is by these small stairs that I've provided, which will go up to this other kind of tunnel entrance round to the back of pit amp. However, there is another geyser here, so I thought, I think I can try and use this, and I turned this into like a double geyser build. So basically this geyser aims at trapping all of the small husks, and basically anything that will get launched by a launcher into this geyser, and they'll remain stuck there the whole game, whilst this geyser, which is right near pit, aims at trapping all of the mini bosses and the smashers and stuff like that. So they'll get stuck in this sort of gap right here. You just make sure you can like place those walls down to kind of keep them from bouncing out, and they'll stay stuck in there. However, for this instance the boss is kind of messing up a bit where it's sort of dancing on the amplifier. This is probably due to my kind of archways which I've put there and edited, as well as like the thin walls. But getting back to this other geyser, this is what's happening. They just stay stuck like this for kind of the whole game, and it's quite entertaining. Something else which you can also do is not have this here with the box and just shoot them into the lava. That's also very fun to do indeed, and I'll probably try and upload another video showing that. It's just an extra thing soon. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, that's it really. I mean, I can try and show off the build a little bit more. Once these walls are down at the amplifier here at pit, they will then go into the tunnel. So yeah, this right here, where the mini boss is just destroying walls on the amplifier, is what will happen if I didn't try and edit archways or anything. And they will just keep the it'll keep the aggro a lot better to go into the walls, which is the wall number 5 and 6, and then they'll go into the geyser. They'll just go in there a lot easier. Now this is also where the smashers will be going, so we should see them up here. However, you might want to replace the walls afterwards just to basically return the aggro back to normal for where they're going to be going. However, their aggro will be mostly drawn to the geyser. However, I did notice that over in that area the smashers can want to bash the first and second wall, which are sort of like sideways facing. So yeah, I'll be doing a build for that and just showing where the walls that I've taken out. Hey everyone, I'm just currently here in my Twine base. Now what you'd seen that footage just before is this sort of in action against the bosses. Now what's going to happen is where there is this geyser just situated down on this left hand side to the amplifier, so this is the pit amp. What happens is once these walls are all either been destroyed or been edited out like so, into archways or something that they won't aggro. However, I wouldn't necessarily advise doing this now as the main way, because the smashers, propane and mini boss can still actually aggro onto these walls and destroy them. It's just easy enough just to leave them to get broken and they'll come around to this. Like in my other video, as I explained, these walls are about the 5th and 6th structure away from the inner corners of the base, and they will take these. Now to make sure that they go for these walls in here, which are the aggro walls right by the geyser to get trapped, what we're wanting to do is make sure that we have no other aggro structures underneath this kind of area in here. So this whole kind of big empty hole, you don't want to have any wall structures or anything like half edited floors, pyramids, anything like that which they can aggro onto. Now if we actually go over to the start, what you'd seen is the husk would be coming through from this area. Now something you'd quite like to do when they're coming in is, if you can, try and slow field as they're coming in this area, because, or anywhere along here, it will just help slow them down to make sure they get knocked down here. Now what's going to happen, why I got this idea, is that I wanted to be able to separate the mini bosses and the smashers from the rest of the husks, and also try and create a kind of lot like a stall build almost, but kind of using my kind of geyser strategies. I like to do kind of use the geysers quite a lot in my builds. So yeah, the bosses would come down here, and then the little ones would also path down here, but when they get flung up by the launchers, they're going to land down on this platform and they can't actually get over to this little ground piece here. So the only other option they have is to actually despawn, or if they don't, what they're going to do is they're going to follow this pathway. So as they come across this pathway, they're going to come over to here, and there's only one option for them to go to actually get back to the base, which is following around here, coming past this area, which is where I've built this kind of jail box sort of cell. We'll call it a geyser prison or something. And then they'll try and come up through this tunnel because they want to get round the back to the amp. Now this is the only possible route that is available once they've dropped down there. This is because once they've got down here, there's no other kind of bits of land that connect back up to allow them to get back. Now if we had a bridge here, then yeah, they would walk back and go up that way. So yeah, and that is how they want to get trapped in here, because they'll see this stairway as the only way to get up. Now something that's quite handy also is, even if you're standing here, then they're gonna go back into that geyser regardless. So just make sure you can just plop your banner here, and as long as you stay in this sort of area, you're all good. You can sub over here and pull this down, and you can watch, but it's a lot better to stand here for kind of one or two reasons. The little things will aggro towards you up this side, but once they get to the top, they'll just actually go back down as well. And you don't want them to jump over at you to come to this direction. So just standing out of the way a little bit is going to be quite beneficial to you, because you don't want them just launching themselves over onto this floor, because once you've been down, they'll just run around there. However, as long as they don't launch at you, they can't pass between this area here. Yeah, so that's that part. Then once we go to the right hand side, what we're going to have is just kind of just a big ass block off. Now I'm not the best at blocking off personally, so kind of block off how you're going to block off really. All I've done is kind of, I've got like one row block off here, the second little bit, it's generally just block off how you see fit, and then I put this little box here to cover up this little area where they could get through. And then just wall punches the whole way along the front line, going all the way from this kind of cliff face all the way over to where sort of there's the start of the ramp sort of here, so this one back, it kind of follows in line with the actual terrain and ends there. What I decided to do is block this off though. I was finding the launchers could be kind of inconsistent with knocking them over here, so instead of having to put extra floor launchers on this terrain to guarantee a knockover, or using things like 5x wall launchers, which I didn't have available at the time, I think it was just a lot easier for me to just put the floor launchers lined up down the middle, and just making sure they only go one way, and then just basically slow fielding them to just slow them down a bit. Another one is this wall launcher is quite handy because this is a 4x launcher, and what this 4x launcher is going to do is it's just going to knock them just off the edge here, so that when they want to go back up, they'll get caught on the tar and flung over onto here. Again, if they get flung over onto here, they can't go back this way, so they will also follow this entire route back round again and go back down to the geyser. So anyway, yeah, then I'll just quickly explain the flingers. The flingers for this situation, if you're going to ask, actually come around to about here, and they'll just despawn down here. Before, when I used to just have this bridge design, I'd connect it up to here and the flingers will actually path here, but that's where I changed this build and made it so the little ones would get stuck on the geyser. So yeah, this is just a snippet from a game. Now this pretty much happens every game on this wave, but you'll see the flingers actually just walk around on this kind of little bridge platform that I built going underneath this archway where the lava is, and they'll just walk over to this position and they will despawn. So if we just wait for him to despawn, and off he goes. And that's it. I really hope you've enjoyed this sort of pit build, and yeah. Oh, another thing, just these walls can be targeted, so you can take it out. Also, I chose to take out this wall here because the smashers can want to go for this one. But aside from that, I hope you enjoyed the build. See you later. I'm just gonna eat my pizza now on my own.